Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Melissa and this is Melissa Knits for Fun. Well, today I do have a finished object, but before we get to that, I want to acknowledge something that is pretty big in my life at least. I am filming on July the 22nd and yesterday, July the 21st, was my 1-year anniversary on YouTube. I cannot believe that it has already been a year since I have started this channel. And to all of you who have been with me from the start, thank you, thank you, thank you. Because I go back and watch a few of those first episodes and I'm like, oh my gosh, how did anybody get through those? They were really rough. I hope that I have gotten much better over time. And of course, I'm trying to improve as I make new videos, trying to improve my editing skills, etc. I really try to just do it in one shot, but that's not always possible. So I'm trying to make sure that I am improving as I go. For those of you who joined along the way, thank you as well, because we have grown to, hopefully by the time this is out, it will be over 2,700 subscribers. I am shocked that that many people want to hear me talk about knitting and yarn, but I thank you all from the bottom of my heart. You just do not know what it means to me every time one of you comments or likes. I see a video getting traction. I mean, I put out a dead stock video today. It is the #1 right now. It's got almost 700 views since I put it out this morning. It's gotten a lot of traction. And it warms my heart to know that I have that kind of support. And we have a vibrant chat going on. We have a chat over on Instagram. Right now, I think we're about 100 people or so in there. And I would love it if y'all want to join. It's a great community. There are people that are in there that are quiet and don't comment very often, but that's okay. We are all bringing ourselves to the table. There are people on there that are chatty, that we chat every day, and there's a lot of comments. And then you'll see a name that only comments every once in a while. But isn't that like any other knitting group? You have the people like me who are like, woo, chatty Cathy, I'm talking the whole time. And then you have people sitting over there just knitting away, and occasionally they will show you something that they knit, or they will pipe up with the conversation. And then there are other people who quietly sit and knit, but just soak up all that's going on around them. And we need all of those types. And I am so happy that we have all of those types in our chat. And I will have put up on one of the sides, I don't know which side, but I will have put up the QR code if you want to join our chat. Or if you can't do the QR code, then just reach out to me and I will gladly add you to the chat. Now, I will say there is a little disclaimer that apparently Instagram only allows, I think it's 250 people. We are not anywhere near that yet, but we may eventually have to move off of the Instagram platform if we want to continue to grow. And so I just want to let people know that there may come a time where we need to do like a WhatsApp or a Telegram. I've been researching what would allow us to grow, because I do know if some people don't like Discord. I honestly don't care where we go. I just want to continue to have conversation. I have just loved making all the friends. And, isn't technology great when it's great? It allows us to connect with people from all over the world. We've got people from Japan, people from Australia, people from the UK and other parts of Europe, people from the United States, all over the United States. And I want to let y'all know how much it means to me that y'all are participating, and how much it means to me that I have had people reach out directly to me and start conversations. And I love that. I love getting to know people. I am a people person. I am. And it's hilarious because my bestie is not, right? If y'all saw that one where it was me and Michelle, she is not really a people person. She doesn't hate people. She's just more introverted, and she's a little bit more, I don't want to hug you. I don't want to, always be part of the crowd, whereas I am the life of the party. So it is very true that opposites attract. And I think that's true in all walks of life. All right. So, since y'all have stayed with me through that little monologue and rambling section about how happy I am I've been on here for a year, I want to thank you again. And I want to invite you, if you have not already subscribed, it would mean the world to me if you would hit that subscribe button so that you would know when I release new videos. And if you'd give me a like and a comment. I do read every single comment. I try to respond to all of them within at least a couple of days. It is getting more and more to where that I am getting more comments, and so it is taking me a little bit longer, but know that I read every single one of them, and it means the world to me when y'all comment. All right, so now I'm going to move on to what I am wearing. I am wearing the beautiful Arrow Tee by Odro, and what a wonderful pattern this was. It was very, very easy to follow. I will tell you though, with a little disclaimer, there were a few little translation problems from, I think it was originally written in German and was translated to English. You can tell that it wasn't translated by someone who is a native speaker in both languages. And I say this because some of the stuff that would sound odd to somebody who is a native English speaker first, like knit to one stitch, then knit stitch, slip marker. Well, if I wrote the pattern, it would say knit to one stitch before the marker, knit the stitch, and then slip the marker. There were just little things like that, and I didn't quote that exactly, but it was just little things like that. A couple of little things where I had to stop and pause and think for a second to figure out what was actually being asked of me. But those were so minor, and this pattern is so beautiful. This is the first negative ease pattern I have ever knit. And guys, oh my gosh, I never thought I would like it. I've always shied away from negative ease patterns because I always thought they were going to be so form-fitting that I am going to be so uncomfortable. I mean, because guys, let's just talk about it. I'm a woman of a certain age. I have a couple of kids. I don't have a little flatness here. I have just a little bit of roll. Well, it's not so form-fitting that those are highlighted. I mean, when I'm sitting down, yes, you see I have a little roll, but that's the same even if I have something on with positive ease. So it's not like when I stand up that it's like, oh, it's so form-fitting that you see everything. No, it is just form-fitting in the best way. It skims my curves. It emphasizes that I am, in fact, I have a very curvy figure. And I've got a little bit of an hourglass, not a complete hourglass, but it just, what I'm trying to say here is trying to say all of this is that it is form-fitting in the best way. It is extremely flattering. And I do think that this pattern would be flattering on all body types. I did not do the waist shaping. I did not pull in the waist. I didn't do the decreases and all that. I just knit it straight. So I omitted this waist shaping. If you go look at Leah from Ruby and Pearls, because we did kind of a little buddy knit. She was already done whenever I cast it on. I want to thank you though, Leah, for talking about it and telling me what a great pattern it was, because oh my gosh, I am so incredibly happy with this. And if you go look at Leah's, she did do the waist shaping, so you can see what it looks like when you do the waist shaping. Like I said, I think it's flattering on all body types. And I will for sure be knitting more things by Odro. I, in fact, am going to knit the Aiden Sweater that has some positive ease. And it is, I'm going to hold a alpaca and mohair together. And I'm going to do this neckline. It should be pretty easy to do. Just follow the instructions for the t-shirt if she doesn't include a v-neck in there. It should be fairly easy to do. Because you'll still have all of this V. You would just stop instead of continuing on, because that one is a high collar. I don't mind a high collar, but I do find that whenever I get hot, if I'm wearing a turtleneck, I can't seem to get cool. So I don't wear too many of them. But if I'm wearing something like this and I get too cold in the winter, I can always put something around my neck. So I think I might need to knit a little Sophie scarf. We shall see. Maybe I'll knit one of those. And the yarn I used for this was the Lana Grossa Cotton 365. Or 365 cotton, I think is what it's actually called. Whew, I love this yarn. It is, I kept saying polyamide, but it's actually a nylon. It's 88% cotton, 12% nylon, so it's got a little bit of give, which I think is why it works so well in this pattern with the negative ease. I haven't found anything else like it. It's not splitty at all. It is absolutely a wonderful yarn, so I've been emailing people on Ravelry, random people that saying, hey, do you want to sell your stash? And so far everybody said no, but we'll see if I wind up with any more colors of this. If you do know of a yarn that has this same composition, the 88% cotton, 12% nylon, that is a DK weight that might be a good sub, let me know. I'd be interested in checking that yarn out. All right, so that is what I have to say about what I am wearing and my one finished object for the week. Now, I have several whips because, like I said, I might not have. This is my third try of getting this video going, so it could have been on one of my other tries. But I cast off one, got one thing off my needles, so I immediately had to cast on 3 new items. All right, that just makes total sense, doesn't it? Now, in my defense, one of them is a test knit. So that's not like something I could just put off, and I wanted to go ahead and get that cast on. Actually, if you want to be technical, I cast on 4, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. But one of the things I did cast on, like I said, is the new test knit, and this is the Mossridge by Sophie from the Knit Pearl Girl, and it is just absolutely stunning. I'll put a picture up here of her Instagram wearing it. Oh, it is gorgeous. I've been stalking her page waiting for this test call to come out ever since she released it. It is a double moss top, and it is a cable on the bottom. So this is the back, and this is the back yoke. It looks like really, really big, but it's not. It's, you know, because it's a drop shoulder, so it's got to go across my shoulders. So this is the double moss. I've done the short rows. I blocked it because I want to check my gauge. My little bitty gauge swatches tend to lie to me. So what I have started doing is I have started blocking the top of my back yoke to check gauge. Now there is a different gauge for the cables, but I will swatch that whenever I get there. I'll probably do that first section of cables, and then I will do another pre-block. I have so many try-on cords, it does not bother me at all to put these on cords. I have spools and spools of it. So I will just do another mid block and check the gauge on the cable as well. I know that she is working on a gauge swatch or a gauge pattern so that you can check with the double moss and then the cable. And other people just did the double moss and then did some cable. Like I said, I have a different way that I want to do it, but I will absolutely make sure that I am on gauge. I'm using the recommended needles, which are a US 6, I believe. Nope, I'm wrong. It's US 7, 4.5 millimeter needle. And I'm using, and I have to go check that. I put them on here. That does not mean that these are the ones that I used. I just grabbed these and put it back on there. So I've just got to go check, because if it is 6s, I've got 6s somewhere. So I just need to go check. This could be off of another project. I know I did knit it in the needle size, so it's not like I knitted a needle size up if they called for a 6. I did knit it in the right size. I just may have grabbed the wrong needles. But I am knitting this. It's called the Mossridge, and Sophie shared with us in her email that she was originally going to call it the Alder, but she realized that Rebecca Clow has a Alder sweater and she did not want to cause confusion. And then apparently an AI shop stole her pattern and called it Mossridge, so she has stolen that name. Good for Sophie. Good for Sophie. I will talk a little bit about technology towards the end. I don't want to get, that was one reason why I had to stop recording a while ago. I got too deep down into like AI stuff, and I don't really want to go in that deep. So I'll say just a little blurb about AI at the end. But man, that good for Sophie for stealing that name back. All right, that is just irritating. But don't, if it's not from Sophie's Ravelry shop, or I'm not positive she has a website, but if it's not from Sophie that you're buying the pattern from, through whatever way, do not buy it. right? And make sure that you research these places, because I know Melanie Rantry has shared too. Some of hers has been stolen. So make sure that you're buying it from reputable sources to make sure that the designer is actually getting the funds for that. Now, I am super happy with this. It is, oh, this yarn. It is so soft. This is Bahram U Wood Note, and it is a blend of, I think it's BFL and Masham. It may be something else. But this is the colorway Fox, and this is where I cheated, and I bought this from Knit Picks when it was on sale, knowing that I wanted to knit this whenever it came out in a test knit. So it was technically in my stash, so I'm technically using stash yarn. I went through a loophole. Oh, I like this. I need some other colors in this. This is really, really nice. It's just got a really nice feel to it. And the stitch definition is glorious. So, don't have a whole lot to say about this. This is a test knit. It's due in October. I haven't done a whole lot other than the short rows. It had to dry last night. So, but I cast it on yesterday and got this much done. So, it went pretty quick. All right. Now, my other test knit. And this is where I said technically I've cast on 4. Because I have another test knit, and I am using the 2 cones of Tides. These are actually 2 different colors. One of them is Iris and one is Confetti. It is Iris and Confetti. And you can see they are just a little bit of a different shade of purple. Not a whole lot. But I decided that I would hold them together. That way I can use both cones. Because I do, if I'm holding together, I prefer to have 2 cones that I'm pulling from. I can't always do that. So, but I did have these 2. And I thought those would go well together. And they are. They're making a really pretty color combination. I just dropped some yarn, of course. Just knocked it off. And it is this really pretty lavender color. Now, I am knitting this on a size 4. She calls for a size 6 and a 25 stitch gauge. I'm not getting a 25 stitch gauge on a size 6 on DK weight. I'm just not. I'm a tighter knitter than that. So I went down a couple of needle sizes. This one's not going to be probably my official because I didn't swatch with this. I just started knitting. And I am going to, as soon as I get the short rows done, I am going to block this and see if it blocks out because it looks a little small to me. I maybe should have used a 5, but this is the Aiden Sweater test knit by Stitches and Stem, Michaela. She had a sweater that was her grandfather's and she wanted to recreate it, and so she did, and now it's out here test knitting, and then she's going to release it as a free pattern. That is amazing that she's putting this much work into it and going to release it for free. I only have a few more rows to do to finish off the short row shaping. And I have to tell you, I said, I think it was last week that I said, and when I got this and it said, you know, cast on and immediately cut the yarn and then do these short rows, I was like, I've never done this before. And I asked in the group chat, I'm like, what is up with this? I don't understand this. Why is it, why? And I didn't understand. Well, let me tell you. Sophie's test knit. Cast on, she didn't have you cut the yarn, but you cast on and then you immediately slip and you shape it using short rows. I have another one over here that you cast on, you cut, and you do short rows. I'm like, okay. Is the universe's way telling me that I need to learn this technique? I am listening. I am doing it. So, I have this much done. It is almost to the point where I can, like I said, block it. It is beautiful. I will continue to knit this, and if I wind up getting a different size, I'll gift it to somebody because it's just too pretty. Or maybe I will take this out and start over using a 5 or maybe a 6. Maybe I'll do it on a 6. But it is absolutely stunning, and I am loving this color. The pattern's very good as well. And the reason I say, let me set these down here. All right. The reason I say that I have 4 things is because with this, what I said that I was going to knit it out of is Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino. Well, I was waiting on yarn to come in. Letha did get 1 bag of yarn in. The other bag is still on the way. So I went ahead and just grabbed 6 balls of this. So this will be part of my acquisitions as well. But I went ahead and tried to cast on while I was sitting at the yarn shop this weekend. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know why I thought I could cast on and actually keep things straight. Well, I couldn't. And or maybe I did actually. I thought I had really messed up the honeycomb. Oh, I did mess up the honeycomb. I did. I messed up the honeycomb and it looks like a horseshoe. So I'm going to have to tink back. I'm tinking back a few more rows and then I'll restart this. But this is the Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino in Ballerina Pink. And this is my official one. And I am knitting this in Heavy Merino on the US size 6s, I'm pretty sure. Yep, on the US size 6s because that's what I got gauge with. Now, I'm going to take just a second. I mean, I've already talked about the pattern. This is just new yarn. I love Knitting for Olive. I love all of Knitting for Olive. But I want to take just a second to talk about these. Look at these cute, cute little stitch markers, progress keepers. It's a little pink macaroon, and this one has little confetti in it that shakes around. And, oh, nope, that's not it. There's the rest of them. And there were 3 more. Look at those. A little donut, a little flower, and a little ice, or a little sucker. Yeah, a donut, a flower, and a sucker. And these were given to me so kindly by one of the viewers. And her name is Kathy. And I want to show you, I showed up, and here's my pink envelope with my name on it. And she left me a little note that just said, Melissa, I love your podcast. I made these stitch markers for our knit or craft in public day, and I had a few pink ones I thought you might enjoy. Well, let me tell you, I am enjoying. They're already on, you know, they're on my project. I have to say, these 2 are probably my favorite. I love this with the little sparklies, the little stars that go around, and I love macaroons. I like making macaroons too. So I really love these. I love them all, and these will be used in other projects. And I am just in love with these. Kathy, thank you so much. Again, I cannot tell you what it does to my heart to know that y'all are this nice and this generous and were so thoughtful and thought enough of me to give me these. So thank you so much. They are adorable, and I am loving using them. So I will use these with joy. All right, so my 2 test knits. And I have resisted today because there's been many test calls today. They're really nice that I really want to knit. And instead I am sharing them with other people and hoping to get those filled up. All right, now I am going to move on, and let me grab one project and one yarn. But I am going to move on to the thing that has really been distracting and why I haven't gotten more done on other things. And it's the one thing that y'all have not seen, but it's almost done. And that is the Moby Sweater Baby by Petite Knit. Look at this. Isn't this adorable? Oh my gosh. Oh, it is so cute. I think that I shared with you, in fact, I know I've shared with y'all, that one of my really dear friends, her daughter is having her 2nd grandbaby, and she's having a little girl, and I already have a baby blanket, but I was going to knit a little dress. But then I got to thinking, she already has a son who's about, I think he's about 4 years old. And so I thought, oh, I could make them matching sweaters. So I already had the Moby Sweater for kids, the junior. And I had one of the other ones, but I wanted to use DK because I asked her what colors she wanted, and she wanted red, and I had this beautiful red DK acrylic. And so I wanted to use DK, and the baby sweater I had by Petite Knit was in fingering. So I didn't want to do that one. So I went ahead and bought this pattern because I already had the kids version, the junior. And honestly, all I've got to do, I've got to finish this round, and then I think I'm done with the ribbing. I might do another round or 2, and then I do an Italian bind off, and then I'm going to do the collar. The sleeves will go really fast because they're like, you know, this long. And then I will be done with this. So this will for sure be done before the next podcast. And then I'll cast on Little Man's sweater to match. She wants them to be matching colors as well. So I had to order some more of this from Wool Warehouse, and it came in today. It'll be part of my acquisitions. And yeah, it is gorgeous. And this is 100% acrylic. I cannot give a mother something they can't put in the washer. I just can't. To me, it just does not seem fair. They're, you know, babies, they spit up. These things need to go in the washer and dryer. And also, the other added part is if I knit something out of wool, even superwash wool, if I were to knit something out of wool, what if the baby's allergic to wool? Right? I don't want to make the baby uncomfortable, and I've never heard of anybody being allergic to acrylic. They may be. It may happen, but I have never heard of it. Doesn't mean it's not a real thing. But this will be really easy. She can just wash and dry it. And so that's where I'm at on that. It's, as you can expect from a petite knit pattern, it's a great pattern. And this one is the other one that immediately it had me cast on and then immediately cut the yarn and shape using short rows. I was like, seriously? I had never done that before, and now all of a sudden the next two things that I cast on are like that? So there is that. It's so, so cute. And this is the Create DK. Yep, Create Double Smith by Yarn Smiths. It is the Wool Warehouse house brand. So, isn't that adorable? All right. I love baby things. They go so fast. I'm going to have to knit some more of them. I have to knit some different colors too. These are really cute. And it's not even going to take me a ball to get through that. All right, so that one has taken up quite a bit of my time. But the other thing, the other new cast-ons, since I'm covering new cast-ons. Oh, hang on. I got to show y'all before I move on. I have to show y'all my stitch stoppers because this is an acquisition, but I did not pay for it. Look at what Michelle gave me. Aren't those adorable? Let's see. Aren't those adorable? There we go. They are so stinking cute. She brought them to the yarn shop on Saturday. I'm telling you, people have just been blessing me, giving me little things. These are so cute. So stinking cute. And what better project than a little kids project? All right. Now, this next one is a buddy knit. And I am, as usual, bringing up the rear. Gina and Rachel have already finished. And Gina is also known as Midwife Gina, and she has the I Knit and I Know Things podcast. And Rachel has started a new podcast called A Froggy Yarn, and she has done a fantastic job. She loves cone yarns just like I do. So give them both a shout out, give them both a watch. And then I'm trying to think of who else is in there. I've forgotten names. There are several people in there. It's not just me. And there are several people in there, and I think, I am drawing a blank. So sorry. I'm not trying to diss anybody, but I have so many chats I can't keep them straight. Anyway, I guess I'll try to lean back to where that y'all can see this. This is the Skyline tee. And both Gina and Rachel have said, you need to make this bigger than you think you need to because of the ease. I'm hoping that's right, because I made a 58, I think it is. Because I think they said with my measurement, they'd probably go with the 56, and a 58 was the next one. This seems awfully big to me, but it is just two rectangles, and then you have to seam it together. So we shall see, and I am loving this yarn. This is, both the pattern and the yarn are by Yumiko Alexander. And she is also known as Dando, and this yarn is Dando linen. It is 100% linen, and isn't this colorway stunning? I forget the colorway name. As usual, I'll put it down here. It'll actually be on this side, but I'll put it down here in the thing. It'll have the name, and I mean, it's just stunning. Just stunning. And I do have another color to make the agave out of, and now I cannot wait to get that on. So I did say that the Soul Mosaic was the last summer knit, but this one would be a summer knit, although I think I may put sleeves on it. And it's just beautiful. And it's very, very easily memorizable. And so no problems. I'm enjoying it. Now, I am just working on a few at a time, you know, doing like a knit and a purl row and then putting it down, or doing 2 knits and 2 purls and then putting it down, you know. So I'll do 2 to 4 rows and then I move and work on something else. All right. Then another buddy knit is my Tain Sweater. I haven't got a ton done on this either, but I think I have figured out. I said last week I thought I had done something wrong because I had my patterning for the half fisherman's rib was not on the same row as the raglan increases, but I actually think that's right. I do. I got to looking back at the pattern and going through it again, and I'm like, yeah, I actually think that that's right, and that they are supposed to be on separate rows. So now, what I have been trying to remember in my mind, I've been saying, oh, if it's just a knit, then that means I'm doing half fisherman's rib, and if I'm saying, you know, if it's an increase row, that's my raglan. I think I'm actually going to change it, and I'm going to do like a pink and a blue and designate one of those colors, and just use a couple of bulb markers, because I'm forgetting and I'm having to tink back and fix things. And that's a me problem for sure. But now that I have gotten past the short rows and I'm just doing raglan, it's just like any other raglan. I haven't gotten very far, but I will thank, I forget who it was that made a comment. They either sent me a direct message, and I just can't remember. Anyway, there was a comment made. I don't remember if it was a direct message or if it was in the chat. But they had just gotten their Tain done, and that they, you know, they had finished their first round of raglan increase. I was like, oh, that's a good reminder. It is a different rate of raglan increases per size. So I've got to go back and check and make sure that I haven't gone past that, because what I do is it tells you how many stitches you should have for every section, and I just do my raglan increases until I get to that count. So I need to go see what that count is for the first ones and make sure that I don't go too far. But this is, it's a nice pattern. It's easily memorizable. I mean, right now all I'm doing is a half fisherman's rib and, you know, some raglan increases. When I get done with this ball of yarn, which will be a while because it is going far, 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 it reminds me a lot of Gilead, but this is Wool Dreamers Moda. And it's 834G. I'm calling it turquoise. I did see a website that called it turquoise. They don't have official names, so this is turquoise. But once I get done with this ball, I will do the neckline, do the collar, because I like having a collar on it. To me, it just makes it easier to see how things are going to fit, especially after you split for sleeves. And then once I get it split for sleeves, once I get done with that ball after I split, then I will do the sleeves, and then I will finish out. That's how I work all of my sweaters. It's just how I prefer to do it, because then whenever I get the bottom done, I am done. And I can start wearing it. All right. So, beautiful, beautiful sweater. The Tain by Rebecca Clow, knit out of Wool Dreamers Moda, which is what it calls for. So, there you go. And I do want to say something real quick about yarn substitutions and stuff. So I have seen several people, and I myself have been very disappointed in the results of something that I knit, that I chose a yarn that maybe wasn't the best yarn. We have to acknowledge that unless you use the exact yarn that the designer calls for the pattern, you're not going to get the exact same results. Now, you can, like, for instance, Drops Bell and Sanda's Garnlina, those are pretty interchangeable, so you could just change those out. And I haven't used Daisy, but I hear that Daisy and Double Sunday are kind of the same thing. But for the most part, like if I were to knit this out of alpaca, it's not going to look exactly like what is in the pattern, because it would be much drapier and all that. So I do keep that in mind. I don't use the called for yarn very frequently, but if I want it to look exactly like the designer's samples, I will try to use the yarn that they suggest, or I will try to find one that has the same mix. So if it's like a BFL Masham mix, I try to find something that's BFL Masham. All right, so I wanted this to look exactly like Rebecca clothes. I actually wanted it to be not that red that she had in the book, in the 52 Weeks of Sweaters. And right now, that's the only way that you can get this pattern. It hasn't gone back to her yet. I think it's 6 months, and I think the pattern book's been out for maybe a couple. So you're probably about four months away before you can buy the individual pattern. But I wanted it to look exactly like that. I wanted it to be a darker red, but they didn't have any whenever I bought this yarn. They had the turquoise. So I bought the turquoise, and I'm very happy with that because look at this. Isn't this gorgeous? It's a good color. All right. If you're having trouble with this, feel free to reach out to me, and don't give up. Just get through the short rows. It will all be fine. And then last but not least, one more buddy knit with Leah. And you know, I am loving this, and I will segue into a technology conversation after this because of technology, I am able to form a friendship with someone who lives in Wales. This would have been unheard of unless you had a pen pal when I was growing up. You wouldn't have had a friendship unless you actually knew somebody over there, like, your family's from there, and so you know people because you go and visit and stuff, or a pen pal. You wouldn't be able to, you weren't sending voice messages to them. You sure weren't calling them very often because, woo, that was prohibitively expensive. Nowadays, you can just voice message on Instagram or, even call somebody on Instagram or WhatsApp or any of that. So really, really cool time that we live in. And so because of that, Leah and I have like a whole list. She went through and made a list of the ones that she wants to knit. And so I think we're going to wind up having a buddy knit going on at all times. And right now our current buddy knit is the soft current sweater. And so Leah did her provisional cast on with cords a little different than I did mine. I watched a video, and you just put the cord on here and you kind of folded it under, and then you did a backwards loop cast on. It worked, and it worked out fine, except for you do have a little bit of a seam like I had picked it up. It's not completely seamless. I don't care. I picked it up, right? But you do have a little bit of a line. And Leah called it. She was like, oh, that looks like that's going to have a line. And I was like, what are you talking about? It's going to have a line. Oh, I don't know. Never done this. She did it a little bit different. And she sent me the video. And I looked at it and went, ooh, that looks a lot like an Italian cast on, which I don't enjoy. So I didn't want to try that. And so I did it this way. The next time that I do a provisional cast on, I probably will try it with the way that Leah did, because I don't think that she has this line. Like I said, it doesn't bother me, so it's not a big deal. All right, and this is the soft current tee, and I have just done one of the back shoulders. I've got to do the other back shoulder I've just picked up, and I'm going to tell you, I don't know what I did. This is going to have it too, because there's a little line there, but I did do this one a little bit better than I did this side, because whenever I put them back on, all my stitches were twisted, so I had to get them back. So it was a bit of a mess on the other side. I did learn from that, and I did this side better. But I'm just now starting this shoulder. So what it's going to look like eventually. And this is a good thing here. I want to show y'all this. Blocked, unblocked. It is a definite difference, right? And let me just hold that out because it's a definite difference. It has bloomed out. I mean, I can, that's kind of holy. This is not. It blooms out. This is that whole scar, and you have to get all of the spinning oils out of it. So, but this is this, I keep telling y'all, it's the soft current tee, and it is the soft current tee, but it's by Wool and Pine. And I know that my friend Lisa has a problem with their patterns. She struggles with them. And I know I've heard other people have struggled with them as well. I've not had any problems except for what Leah talked about on her podcast, because it seems weird to me that you would have a make one left on both sides, but you did. Like you do right here, you do an increase and both sides are make one lefts. I would have thought one side would be a make one right and one side would be a make one left. So I did both of mine make one lefts like it said. Leah did hers make one right and make one left. And we're just going to compare and see if it really makes a difference or not. But little things like that. And then this does absolutely line up, but I think that there's just a little bit of a blank space there. You won't notice it because that'll be at the shoulder. So you won't notice it, but that didn't line up exactly. I don't know if this side is going to or not. This absolutely could be a me problem. So But I think that there's going to be a little bit there before I do it. And when I block it, it may look different too. So we shall see. We shall see what happens there with that patterning. All right. And the yarn I'm using is the Whole Scarn Held Double. This is super soft in the colorway Cranberry. I love this yarn. I know it's too rough for some people. If you're sensitive, it's probably too rough for you. I can wear Let Lope Icelandic wool next to skin, so it is not too rough for me. And I am so looking forward to this. And it will be softer even still after, like this part for sure, since I've already blocked it out, because I will wash it again and I will throw it in the washer this time. It does say that you can do that on a delicate cycle in cold water. Now, having said that, make sure that you test it out first and, you know, make a swatch, throw it in the washer. I cover that in one of my videos, my yarn videos, about how to care my yarn stash. I talk about caring for it. I will say, if you really want to know how something's going to react in your washing machine, because not everybody's washing machine is the same, and not all yarn's the same. Some yarns might react different. Make a swatch, a fairly good size swatch, and throw it in the washing machine and treat it like you're going to. If you want to put it in the dryer, put it in the dryer, but care for it however you're going to and see what it does. And if that swatch felts, don't throw your whole sweater in there. It's a really easy way to find out how it's going to react without risking your beautiful garment you spent hours and lots of money on. All right. This, like I said, this pattern has just been, and look at this neckline. I like, the pattern's not been a problem for me. And then look at this neckline. If I can get this up here. It is beautiful. And the I-cord ribbing is built in. You knit it as you go. I am happy about that. I don't like picking up and doing an applied I-cord. So I love the fact that you knit it as you go. And I would have told you that this was only like the second woolen pine that I had ever made, and then I didn't finish the other one because it was the sea glass. But that is wrong. I've made a summer sorrel and I've made a sorrel, and I have plans to make another one. So I obviously like their patterns. This will be the third sweater that I've knit by them, that I've finished, because this will be finished soon. All right, and so that is it as far as what I have on my needles, what I'm actively working on. Like I said, I do have a couple of others, but I just didn't make enough progress to really bring them in here and talk about it. Yeah, and I didn't put any stitch stoppers on this one because I'm still flat. Everything's flat except for those two, and these are just the goats that have been with us for a while. So I don't have any stitch stoppers really to show you. And I showed you the stitch markers given to me by Kathy. And so now I am going to switch. And if you do leave here because you don't care about acquisitions, thank you for hanging out with me. If you are staying, this week was the first week of Arkansas Yarn Crawl. Next weekend, when y'all see this, it'll be the last weekend. And I will have some more acquisitions from it. I've done a little bit of damage. And then I told y'all I had some things coming in, and they came in. So we'll start with the Arkansas Yarn Crawl ones. And I got, as I already said, I got this Ballerina Pink Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino. I got 6 balls of this, and I started my Aiden sweater. And in addition to that, Letha had a trunk show by Rachel Wolf Designs. I told y'all she was coming. And look what I got. Aren't these gorgeous? So she does non-superwash wool as well as superwash. I did get some superwash, and I'm going to shock every one of y'all. This is going to be a pair of socks. And this is called Petunia. And it is an 85-15 blend, superwash merino and nylon. Isn't that just stunning? I'm going to make myself a pair of socks out of this. I decided I needed a pair of socks. And then the two, and the first night, Thursday night, we kind of got to shop a little bit early because we were there for knit night. So I got a t-shirt quantity of the Cherry Blossom, which is a cotton merino sock, and it is 60% merino and 40% sock, or 40% cotton, I believe. And I got 3 balls of this, and I am going to be test knitting a top for her that is made out of this that she designed, which I'm very, very excited about. So this is Cherry Blossom. It's just absolutely stunning, and I cannot wait to knit with this. And then the first night I got this color, and this color is Black Cherry. I got 7, no, did I buy 7 of these? I got either 6 or 7, and I honestly do not remember. But I got enough for a sweater. And this is a DK, and it's 246 grams per 100. And it's non-superwash. That is just gorgeous. And then I also got some stitch markers. They're the lobster claws, so I use them as progress keepers. And I got 2 of the dragons and 1 of the turtles, and then promptly forgot to give Michelle the dragon, forgot to take them back up there, so I wound up buying more dragons. That's okay. That's okay. I'll either give the extra package to Michelle because she's a crocheter, and so she uses lobster claws more than I do, or I'll keep them. But these are little, I'll try to get this up here, a little bitty turtle. I love turtles. And then the little bitty dragon, and all I can think of is we be dragons. And so I got these as well. And then, as I said, I bought another pack of the dragon ones on Saturday to give to Michelle, and I did give them to Michelle. And then I bought something else because I had sat there. I had almost bought it Thursday night, and I was like, no, I need to wait and see. And I just could not pass it up. This is Racing Green, and this is the non-superwash. I did only get 5 of these. And Rachel asked me, she's like, are you sure that's enough? And I'm like, oh yeah, it should be plenty. And then I got to thinking, and I thought 5 might not be enough. But I did find a sweater pattern, and I am trying to think of what it was that this would work for. And it said that I needed over 5 balls, but here's the thing, I'm so short that I never make it as long, so I could probably get away with just 5 balls. We'll see, and if not, I can pick up another one in November when she's at the Fiber Festival, and it doesn't matter even if it's a little bit off. I'll just do like the collar and the ribbing and stuff like that in it to where you wouldn't even notice. All right. And then my stuff came in. First thing that came in was last Thursday, and this was the woolly yarn, or not woolly yarn, woolly knit, the woolly knit cone, and this is the cherry red, and I took advantage of their 4th of July free shipping to the U.S. that they did. They don't do this every day, so you're not going to go out there and find free shipping just because you live in the U.S. You need to sign up for their newsletter and follow them on Instagram because that's where they're going to announce these types of sales. They did one around Christmas or New Year's last year where they did international shipping to anybody. They do limit it to 2 kilograms. So I got this. Isn't that gorgeous? And I am going to hold that with some Lucia in the colorway Lava. And I am going to make myself a red Monday sweater. Cannot wait. This may be cast on before too long. Then the next thing to come in was my, and I did not bring the other thing that I got from them. This was my knit picks. I just finally could not take it any longer. They did free shipping, and I just could not take it any longer. This color, this winter night, this is the wool of the Andes worsted. This had been, every time I got on their site, was like, please buy me, please buy me, please buy me. So I did. And it is beautiful. It is even more stunning in person. It will become a sweater eventually. And I do know that I can get a sweater out of one thing of this. Maybe I'll do another vine sweater in it. I don't know. But I can for sure make a sweater out of this. And like I said, the colorway is Winter Night. And it's the wool of the Andes worsted. And then today, I got my wool warehouse. Because I told you that I already had this, the Create DK. I already had this 1 ball to make this sweater. Well, I needed more if I'm going to make brother, because I really didn't think she was going to come back and say she wanted the same color for both, but she did. And so I was like, well, I need to order some more then because I only have this 1 ball. And if it's going to be exactly the same, I've got to order exactly the same yarn. Well, that was my excuse anyway. So I did. I bought 3 balls of this because that's how many I need to make his sweater. Not sure I'm going to have to use 3 balls, but we'll see. If that's what it called for, that's what I bought. If I have leftovers, I'll do something else with it. Well, I couldn't just buy those 3 balls, right? They're also having a drop sale. So this was my excuse. And I have another yarn overboard. Hold on. This one, it went way over there. So sorry, as y'all saw my shorts there, but I got this beautiful drop spell in the colorway Ruby Red, and it is just stunning. And I got a top quantity of that. And I do have a plan for this. Leah was, I forget what it was that she was buying Belle for, and I was like, ooh, I'll do mine in ruby red. I've got to go and look at that because that's what this will be. And once I find that, I'll put a picture of it. And I'll put a picture of this one. I've got plans for this where the pattern actually calls for this yarn. And I got this beautiful, beautiful red color. And that's actually the color that the designer used as well. But I just love this color. And because I wanted to see, I had to see this color. I don't think I got a sweater quantity of this. I could have, or a top quantity. I don't think I did. I think I just got one. I opened it this morning and I don't remember, but I think I just got one to see. And then I wanted to see the turquoise colorway for the saffron, which is their sport weight cotton. I really like this. So that might, the next time they go on sale, I'll wind up buying some. And then I wanted to check out their Paris, which is their worsted weight cotton. I don't know that I'm ever going to buy or ever make a top or anything in this. This really, I would make a dishcloth out of. So it's nice, but I don't know that I will ever buy this because it really is. I'd make a washcloth or something out of it. It's okay. I wouldn't make a top out of it, so I don't really need it. But I just wanted to check out a few colors. The colorways are beautiful. And this is Drops Paris. So I have no plans for these. I just bought them to see. So eventually they'll probably be destashed or I'll give them away to somebody or something. So, all right. Which leads me to, I'm thinking about doing a destash. And I'm not sure how I'm going to do it. I think that I might do it on Instagram. I don't know. Let me know what you think. If you think you'd be interested in any of my yarns. I mean, obviously you don't know which ones they would be yet. So, but I've got a lot of like one-off, like when I was doing shawls and thought I was going to be a sock knitter and stuff. And then I just didn't. And I'm a garment knitter, so I can't really do anything with those yarns. And then I've just got some that I've just like, yeah, I just don't want to knit with that anymore. So I've got some that are pretty loud. I've found that I don't love variegated knitting with them as much as I love seeing them in the skein. So I've got a lot of variegateds and stuff. Let me know what you think. All right, and that's it. But I am going to talk for just a second about technology. I said how, it was great, and it is. And I'm trying not to deep dive too much about AI because it's a very nuanced conversation. But I will say that technology is both the best thing and the worst thing that's ever happened to humanity. I mean, it is the best because, like I said, I've been able to form a friendship with, Leah over in Wales. I talked to Maria, who's in Wales. I talked to people, viewers who are in Japan and Australia and all of that in a chat, Canada, worldwide chats. I'm test knitting with people from all over the world. It's amazing. But I watched Terminator, guys. I know how this story ends about AI. And I say that jokingly. Anybody who's Gen X is probably sitting here going, yep, you're right. We know how that ends. It didn't end well for humanity. I'm somewhat joking. I don't think that AI is going to come to life and kill us all. But AI is here to stay. Okay? And this is, AI, I think, is going to be one of those that, depending on who uses it, like so many things in our world, it can be good or bad. For those of us, and Yarn at the Barn talked about this a little bit, for those of us who are in IT, we do not have the option of saying we're not going to use AI because we will be unemployed and unemployable. And I know at my age, I can't do that. So I do use AI for my work. I don't have choices. And I will tell you that in a lot of ways, it is a great help. I had to do something the other day and I spent about 30 minutes doing prompts and, asking clarifying questions, asking AI if it knew what I needed it to do, and it asking me questions, and all of that took me about 30 minutes. And then I let AI go and work, and it came back with a 20-page document that it had gone and researched the stuff that I asked for. That would have taken me days or weeks to do. So it freed me up to focus on the human part of my job because I'm a coach. And so I have a lot of human connection that I do. So it can be a big help. Now, having said that, I don't want people stealing people's knitting patterns and using AI to try to recreate it. So I don't know what the answer is to fix all of this, but I do think that we have to be understanding a little bit more for people who they don't really have choices. I cannot afford to be unemployed because I don't want to use AI. Okay, so like I said, technology, it's the best thing and the worst thing that's ever happened to us. But it is here to stay. So I think we have to make peace with it somehow, some way. I don't know how. But that's pretty much all I've got to say about that. Like I said, it's a very nuanced conversation. Nothing's ever black and white in life. And as I get older, I see way more shades of gray than I did when I was young. So that's my little soapbox for the week. And I will now stop rambling. And I will thank y'all all for staying with me. And until I see you next time, I hope y'all have a fabulous knitty week.